Hello everyone and welcome back to the New United States Leader channel. I'm Ronald, your leader, and I want to talk about three different topics today. One is going to be cognitive dissonance with your family and friends. The other is going to be neurolinguistic programming. And the third part, which is going to come off of the neurolinguistic programming part, is Trump's United States, his rally speech in Tulsa, Oklahoma on June 19th, 2020. I'm going to talk about how he showed you one thing, used neurolinguistic programming to deliver a bunch of commands, and basically told you that he's going to destroy the United States. So first let's talk about cognitive dissonance. I'm just moved back close to where my family is, and I came here to let them know what I think is going to happen and to be prepared for it. And my paradigm and their paradigm for some of my family members and friends is different. And they see that Donald Trump in the United States of America corporation is benefiting them by giving them benefits, and that Donald Trump is some kind of a savior, and he's going to protect them from danger and help the economy, and that his rah-rah speeches are truly for the benefit of the people, the citizens across the United States living in all of these different states that are really countries. Well, Donald Trump is the CEO of a US of A corporation inside of Washington, the District of Columbia, with no jurisdiction outside of Washington, District of Columbia, but they have invaded the United States via Northern Command, and we're under military occupation. And since March 2020, when Donald Trump declared a state of emergency, FEMA and the military have been in charge, and the US of A corporation, the Republicans and Democrats of this so-called government, have been playing both sides of the fence and running amok, and the Democrats are basically using your taxpayer money to hire MS-13 gang members, and they're going to defund the police and reduce dialing 911 to nothing, and nobody's coming. So this speech, the June 19th, 2020 speech that Trump gave as his first rally speech in Tulsa, Oklahoma, in my opinion, is his wolf in sheep's clothing speech. I've been studying this speech now down to the word and the sentence and the NLP physical signals that he's queuing up. And in fact, in the first minute and a half of the speech, he raises his right hand, makes the 666 to Lucifer, and swears an oath to Lucifer, and then brings it down and puts it down as above, so below. And then he calls an incantation, making it solid, and then he throws it out to the crowd. These different NLP signals. If you don't understand neurolinguistic programming, so let's talk about cognitive dissonance with dealing with your family. Cognitive dissonance is, I'm going to read the definition. The definition of cognitive dissonance is, in the field of psychology, cognitive dissonance occurs when a person holds two or more contradictory beliefs, ideas, or values, or participates in an action that goes against one of these three, and experiences psychological stress because of that. So an example is, let's say you grew up believing that NASA went to the moon, has a space program, and is using your tax money to really investigate the stars and other planets. But then you find out that there's no way to get to the moon, that it's just a light in the sky, and that we're living in some kind of a toroid field, sloping flat plane that is not a spinning sphere or globe that's spinning on its axis 1,000 miles an hour, going around the sun at 500,000 miles an hour, traveling through the so-called galaxy at 2.5 million miles an hour. All of that stuff, suddenly you find out, is a lie, and you can't handle it. Same thing with people. Cognitive dissonance, let's say you've always believed that Donald Trump is like a really good guy and not a cohort of Jeffrey Epstein. And he's a really good guy as a businessman, and he really wants to get us more jobs and save the country, save the United States, make America great again. Well, it's not. When he says the United States of America, you have to realize you live in the United States. There's a nickname for the United States. It's called America. But when Donald Trump is talking about how the United States of America will be great again, he's talking about how his company, the United States of America Corporation, incorporated in Washington, the District of Columbia, are going to do good again. And it's based on your human resources. So cognitive dissonance could be, with this extreme devotion to Donald J. Trump. And some of my family members and friends, since I've got back, I've been warning them. I was like, look, Donald Trump is, if you look at his speeches and what he's saying, he's showing you different signs. He's saying different command words. He's lulling you into a state of hypnotism, making you think he's promising you something good, when in effect he's telling you all of the bad things that he's doing to you and what is to come. So, out of my experience that I've been dealing with family and friends and cognitive dissonance, we're at a certain point where your message is best bet for large masses of people, and your message should have some type of call to action, where you're telling people, my foot itches, where you're telling people, hey, here's what's happening and here's what you can do. Problem, solution. They do it. US of A Corporation uses Hegelian dialectic methodology of problem, reaction, solution. Order out of chaos. They create the chaos. You ask for a solution. They give you order. It's all tied together. So with cognitive dissonance and dealing with your family, you're not going to be able to convince those closest to you in a one-on-one basis as far as to change their belief. Unless you can show them and they go, oh my gosh, tell me more. And they come to you and they ask for more information. One of my good friends said, that they don't try and force any opinion on other people unless they come to them and they ask them their opinion. Because we're at a point now where you got to pretty much start fending for yourself, preparing for yourself, and get ready. Because in Tulsa, Oklahoma speech, Trump even says, August, September, October, they're going up, they're going up, they're going up, and then they're going to go up, I think, into the tree of life. And that's August, September, October. He goes, and then in November, you need to go to the poles. North Pole, maybe, South Pole. And then you'll know what to do from there, he said. So there's things like that written into his speech that he's actually getting fed to him from a earpiece, and you can see it in the speech. So look, don't try and just get along with your family and friends right now. The thing is, social media is being kind of locked down with a lot of trolls. And they're showing up on my pages and other pages and just making comments, and it's negative. It's basically their favorite way to interact with one of my posts is like, what are you, smoking drugs? Are you on crack? Are you on drugs? It's like all of a sudden they start attacking your integrity. So you have to start just building your network of people that you can communicate legitimately to without letting these trolls interfere. Because we're at a point now where it's going to be about a call to action. Donald Trump is saying that, he says in his speech that you're not going to even be able to dial 911 for help, that it's going to just say, a recording's going to say, sorry, this number is no longer working. That's 911. And that people are going to come attack you in the middle of the night, man or woman, young or old, it doesn't matter. It's going to be horrible, terrible, and the United States is going to be destroyed. That's what he says in this speech. Now, he uses paragraph structure and bait and switch and distraction to make you think he's talking about Donald Trump and the Democrats, when in effect he's talking about the United States of America Corporation and your taxpayer money being used to hire criminals to ransack the United States and leave you helpless without a police defense. And he doesn't care. And he calls the friends in his crowd the elite. He points at us and says that we're nobody, we don't know anything, and we don't, know what's going on. We don't understand what he's talking about. So just, if you're going to use social media, you're just going to have to get better at avoiding the trolls. If you're going to deal with your family, you're just better off getting getting along with them. Now, I'm not going to cover the whole speech in this because, look, we're already at 10 minutes and I don't want to go over 20 minutes. So let's talk about prepping real quick as a solution. I recently was speaking with an elite special forces soldier, the top of the top kind of elite soldier training, where they would give these guys drugs to stay awake for days and not feel pain. They would get injections, he said. Also, anything is a weapon. And that the military has drones the size of your fingernail that are bombs that can take out your entire house. You won't see them or hear them coming, just all suddenly, boom! And they have that kind of technology that you're dealing with. So as far as prepping goes, I am prepping to go to the North Pole. And if you haven't watched yet, I've been saying, please watch the, you'll see it in the link below, the link to the Tulsa, Oklahoma rally speech that Trump gave, where he opens up with swearing an oath to Satan. And then as above, so below, he does like that. As above, he's boom, just throws his creation, satanic spelling creation out into reality. So I can show that to you. I have it queued up, but I want to talk about real quick. I want to get through a bunch of stuff because the next few videos I'm going to go into detail about each step of the way of the Trump speech. Now, the truth is hidden in plain sight in this speech, and technically they're doing this. Why are they doing this, hiding the truth in plain sight? Donald Trump is a master NLP speaker, and he is, in this speech, if this is Donald Trump, and I want you to look and examine two different videos, one from his announcement speech in 2015, and then look at his June 19, 2020 speech, and see if these look like the same people with the same mannerisms, because the Trump mannerisms in the June 19, 2020 rally speech in Tulsa, Oklahoma are completely different, hand signal wise, as the Trump who gave the announcement speech in 2015 that he was announcing. And I'm going to put both those links up. In fact, that announcement was made, I'll tell you, this was June 16th, 2020, right after his birthday. So June 16th, 2020. So, and this one's June 19th. June 16th, 2016 looks like a younger, different Trump. And then this June 19th, 2020 looks like different Trump. And they're all around his birthday now. His birthday is June 14th, and he's a Gemini, meaning he truly is a wolf in sheep's clothing with two different personalities. That's one of the things that Gemini is known for. So I want to go back to this. So why are they showing you the truth in plain sight? What is significant about that? Well, here's the deal. The United States of America, being a corporation, can only deal contractually with your fiction name. And all this time you don't know it, but you've been agreeing to unconscionable one-sided contracts regarding the control of your name, your birth certificate, what you're consenting to. And technically you have to consent to what they're offering you, which is total destruction of the United States. You have to consent to that. You have to consent to being taxed. You have to consent to police brutality. You have to consent to vaccinations. And what they're doing you now, they want to get your consent, because without your consent they can't do it, because it's contractual, because you, the living soul, are in control of your commercial fiction. And so the United States of America Corporation is a commercial fiction, and they have this guy Donald Trump, who's a gregarious, speaker, to get people to consent to things for the, to do what they want for the corporation. Well, you're a corporation. Now, what they're doing in this neurolinguistic programming speech that Trump is giving is they're doing what's called informed consent. He's informing you legally on the record what they are about to do, what they are doing, what they have been doing all along for many years now that you've been consenting to, and what the future holds, and what he plans over the next August, September, October, November, when everyone should go to the polls, and then they'll know what to do next after that. He says that. So what he wants to do is, with the NLP, he gives them legal standing so that he can say, well, look at this speech. I can't say I didn't tell you this was going to happen. I can't say I didn't tell you that 911 was going to go down and not be available, that MS-13 was going to be running the streets. I told you. The Democrats are doing it, but I told you. I mean, and I am part of the Republican Democrat, he's saying, because it's all part of the company. So it's plausible deniability legally. They want your informed. Basically, they need your informed consent. They just need your consent, but informed consent almost gives them zero liability on murder, but dead men tell no tales. And so after the vaccine and 5G and 6G is turned on, if you're dead, you're not going to be able to really take them to court, are you? So his speeches are recorded onto the record and they're broadcast for public. And when you're making law, there's like a 30-day curing period. So when something goes out as kind of, from his standpoint, a command, or here's what we're doing, open to the public, knowledge. If somebody doesn't rebut that within 30 days, then it's going to go into the public record, becomes law. So, for instance, he's going on the public record. It's been since June 19th. By July 20th or July 19th, it'll be 30 days. And no one will have rebutted it. So, for the sake of understanding here, you're going to have to realize that the Republicans and Democrats are working for the same company. It's as if your company is Walmart and your Republicans are auto mechanics and they're fixing your car, and the Democrats are the food section that's poisoning you to death, basically. But it's still Walmart. It's still the same company. So for him to say that Democrats are doing this and Joe Biden is doing that, well, he's part of that company. And so he's letting it happen. He's letting maniacs come in, and he's planning on destroying the United States. So you're being told these different things. You're being told in the speech, who is doing what. And, those that defend citizens and those that are harming citizens work for the same company. So when you hear Trump say in his speech that the Democrats are looting, rioting, and destroying, it's true. And they're members of your so-called government. And he's allowing it to happen. He even says when he showed up a couple days before he showed up for the Tulsa speech, we brought our guys in. And they were fighting, and it was bad. And we watched on the TV for 2 days until I finally said, all right, it's enough, it's enough. He said that. Now, another reason that they want to kill everybody is that the International Monetary Fund holds all your birth certificates in Geneva, Switzerland. They have the credit for them all. But those are unconscionable, one-sided contracts without informed consent. And before you can not inform consent, all of a sudden when you realize now, based on my book, The Solution, how to go get the credit for your birth certificate, you're not going to understand that you've basically consented to the IMF controlling the bond of your birth, which is worth a lot of money. And when you deposit it back to the U.S. Treasury and get full credit for it, then you become a secure creditor because you've secured the credit from your birth certificate. And now you are no longer a debtor. And then you can start basically living a life where the IRS will set off all of your debt, because you can't pay these days a debt with a debt instrument. So I've discussed that. But the IMF wants everyone dead with 5G and 6G and vaccinations so that they can cash out on all the death certificates, because they want 6.5 billion people to die to achieve the #1 guide on the Georgia Guidestones, which is to maintain a worldwide population under 500 million. Doesn't sound good. So let's talk about neurolinguistic programming real quick. Geez, we're at the 19-minute mark. Look up NLP, all right? I'm going to get into, I just want to show you this. I want you to see Donald Trump. This is with the sound off, and this is with Donald Trump saying that he has basically, he's swearing an oath to Satan and 666. Ready? Here we go. You'll see. He's going to raise his right hand, 666, and then 666 facing down. He makes a speech, or he makes a wish, and then he makes it into reality. He's casting spells up there. I know it might not look like much, but that was at 2947 of, go to 2942 or 45 and watch it. Now, I don't even know what he said right there. I do know what he said from the transcript, but I'm not looking at the video right now from a audio standpoint, although I've already done all of the work on the audio and the script and getting it fine-tuned so that I know exactly what he said. Now I'm just watching it through from the NLP gesture standpoint, and that's just the first thing. He opens up with swearing an oath, 666, as above so below, demanding some kind of a command, and then throwing the spell out to the public. He's in, and you're watching it all. He even denotes who's who, the elites. He points at his friends in the crowd. The camera is the news, and you, the deplorables, basically. He doesn't say deplorables, but those who don't understand, because it's all about legal English. Alright, so I'm going to put this speech up in there so you can start watching it, and you start looking for what you see as contradictory statements or statements that validate. You need to listen to this speech closely for the truth hidden in plain sight. I'm going to get back to this. I'm going to be talking to you about the command statements he made under NLP. In the next video, I'm going to read to you about NLP and how he's doing it, and then I'm going to go breakdown of the video minute by minute, hand gesture by hand gesture, how many sixes he throws up there, how many times he refers to himself as him, the Democrats, the Republicans, and the ones doing harm to you. Alright, that's about it. Check out the links below. If you want to remove yourself from the jurisdiction of the state or the corporation that's posing like a government, then see the solution. And you want to do this because if you can get full faith and credit for your birth certificate soon, early, and follow this process, I'll send you the documents at the just email me, the ronaldshow2011 and I'll send you the documents for the 3 or 4 step process that goes along with many of the processes in my book, The Solution, and that's it for now, okay? So if you can get control and become a secure creditor, you'll remove yourself as part of this death certificate thing that's going to go on with the IMF, because the more people that die, the more people, the banks, the central banks, the IMF, and the whole financial world wins. Because then they don't really care and they can just sweep away 6.5 billion people and then clean things up and then go back to living, nanotechnology without a bunch of useless eaters in the way. Alright, so thanks for watching.